Welcome friends to the Pathology of Blood part 2nd, and this part is on erythrocytes. More than 99% of formed cellular elements in blood are erythrocytes. They contain oxygen carrying protein hemoglobin, which gives whole blood its red color. To maintain normal quantities of RBC, new mature cells are entered in blood at the same rate as that of number of RBC destroyed in a second. Let's discuss about anatomy of erythrocytes. Under the microscope, RBC appears as a biconcave disc that have a diameter of 4 to 8 micrometer. Mature RBC have simple structure, they lack nucleus and other organelles, and can either neither reproduce nor carry on extensive metabolic activities. The plasma membrane encloses a respiratory pigment which was synthesized before loss of the nucleus, and then nucleus dissolve in a cytosol. Certain proteins are present on the surfaces of RBC are responsible for the various blood groups. Let's discuss the function of RBC. As blood passes through the lungs, hemoglobin inside RBC combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. A hemoglobin molecule consists of a protein called globin. It composed of 4 polypeptide chains. Out of that, 2 are alpha and 2 are beta, plus 4 non-protein pigments called heme, as shown in the following figure. Each heme is associated with one polypeptide chain and contains an iron that can combine reversibly with one oxygen molecule. The oxygen is transported in this state to other tissues of the body, and in the tissues, the iron oxygen reaction reverses. Hemoglobin releases oxygen which diffuses through the interstitial fluid into the cells. Hemoglobin also transports about 23% of the body's total carbon dioxide, which is a waste product of metabolism. Blood flowing through tissue capillaries picks up carbon dioxide, some of which combines with amino acids in the globin portion of hemoglobin to form carbaminohemoglobin. This complex is transported to the lungs where the carbon dioxide is released and then exhaled. A recent and surprising discovery states that hemoglobin also assumes a function in blood pressure regulation. Nitric oxide is a gas produced by endothelial lining cells of blood vessels. The ions in the heme portion of hemoglobin also have strong affinity for nitric oxide. Hemoglobin that has already circulated through the body and given up its oxygen to tissues passes into the lungs, where it releases both carbon dioxide and nitric oxide. Then the hemoglobin picks up fresh supply of oxygen and a different form of nitric oxide called supernitric oxide, which is produced by the lung cells. In body tissues, hemoglobin releases its oxygen and supernitric oxide and picks up carbon dioxide. The released supernitric oxide can make blood vessel relax. At the tissue level, hemoglobin can also pick up any local excess nitric oxide, thus making blood vessels contract. Here are the diseases related with the erythrocytes: polycythemia, iron deficiency anemia, megaloblastic, sickle cell, hemolytic, and last one is thalassemia. Let's discuss polycythemia. Increase in the total RBC count is recognized as polycythemia. This could be happen because of high altitude where the oxygen concentration is low in environment, any congenital disease, and hyperplasia of bone marrow, which responsible for increase in the synthesis of blood cells. The symptoms are headache, weakness, tiredness, red face and red eyes as shown in the figure, thromboembolic complication as shown in the below figure, and hemorrhagic complications. The another type is iron deficiency anemia, which is also called as microcytic anemia. As we discussed earlier, iron is necessary for synthesis of hemoglobin. When there is a deficiency of iron, hemoglobin couldn't form, and that results into the decrease in a total hemoglobin content. The symptoms are weakness, tiredness, shortness of breath. It can be diagnosed by paleness of a tongue, conjunctiva of nails as shown in a figure, and one could go for estimation of hemoglobin inside the laboratory. Unlike iron deficiency anemia, megaloblastic anemia is also called macrocytic anemia, as there is a defective maturation process occurs in the formation of RBC, as maturation of RBC requires vitamin B12 and folic acid. If there is a deficiency of these vitamins, the cells which are formed are not as that of the normal RBC, but their size is get increased and hence called as megaloblast. The symptoms of the megaloblastic anemia are glossitis, anorexia, diarrhea, loss of weight, paresthesia, weakness of limbs, retrobulbar neuritis, and hemorrhagic manifestations. The pernicious anemia is produced because of absence of intrinsic factor. This factor is secreted from the cells of gastric mucosa. This factor is necessary for the absorption of vitamin B12, and vitamin B12 is necessary for the maturation and development of the RBC. So, if intrinsic factor is not available, so that vitamin B12 absorption is not possible from the GI lumen, and hence it affects the maturation and development of RBC. The symptoms of the pernicious anemia are same as that of the megaloblastic anemia. The deficiency of intrinsic factor is occurs in atrophy of gastric mucosa. Sickle cell anemia is inherited genetic disorder. In this, the bone marrow produces abnormal type of cells, and the abnormal cells having sickle shape type or crescentric type. The total lifespan of RBC is completely shortened. The patient who is suffered with sickle cell anemia show marked susceptibility towards the infection, as there is a change in the shape of the RBC when such a RBC flowing from a very narrow blood vessels, there could be possible these RBC are get clogged into the small blood vessels that causes blockage of blood supply. Such a patient should be avoided from low oxygen places. The another type of anemia is a hemolytic anemia. That means RBC destroyed faster than that their production rate. The hemolytic anemia is of two types. One is inherited hemolytic anemia, which occurs when parents pass the gene for the condition on to their children, and other one is acquired hemolytic anemia, which occurs due to the development in the conditions later. The causes of inherited hemolytic anemia are sickle cell anemia and thalassemia. These both are the inherited genetic disorders, whereas the acquired hemolytic anemia occurs because of the bacterial and viral infections, use of certain medicines like penicillins, anti-malarial drug, sulfa medicines, also because of some blood cancers and autoimmune disorders like lupus erythematosus, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, increase in the size of the spleen, and unaffected or not sterilized blood transfusion could lead to the hemolytic anemia. The symptoms of the hemolytic anemia are abnormal paleness or lack of color of the skin, yellowish skin, eyes and mouth. The symptoms are same as that of the jaundice, dark colored urine, increase in the body temperature, weakness, dizziness, confusion, such a patients can't able to do normal physical activity and there is enlargement in a spleen and liver. The last disease related with the erythrocytes is the thalassemia. It is also inherited genetic type of the disease and there is abnormal form or inadequate amount of the hemoglobin. As there are two types of the thalassemia, alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia. As we discussed in the previously that there are four polypeptide chains are present inside the hemoglobin. Two are the alpha and two are the beta. If there is a defect in the gene related to alpha globulin protein are missing or it is get changed or it is get mutated, then such a type is called alpha thalassemia. Whereas similar gene defects affect production of the beta globin protein, then it is called beta thalassemia. In the next part, we will discuss about another cellular elements of the blood that are WBC and platelets. Till then, happy learning.